for 5 hours with a few breaks for ABC News. I can't. I get lambasted for not talking at home. All right. Anyway, welcome to Brian's Beat, the only show born at the apex of freedom, entrepreneurship, and nomadism. It's been a long time, at least for me, sitting in this chair when I've been able to say to you on a Saturday morning, hey, the Red Sox won last night. But they did. They beat another pretty down and out team, the Chicago White Sox. 3-2 the final score. If you're keeping score, the Red Sox have this series against Chicago and then Tampa Bay, and then they round out the season with the Baltimore Orioles down in Baltimore. So the season is almost over, and I know many people are saying, oh, when is it going to end? When will it be over? Different sport. Football. The rain might be the best action tomorrow when the Patriots play the New York Jets. If the game does happen, and I'm pretty sure that it will, we'll have the action right here on WBSM, starting with the pregame, which begins at 10 a.m. Kickoff just after 1 o'clock. Kickoff just after the African-American national anthem and the national anthem. By the way, Patriots football brought to you by D&J Enterprises and a few others. But D&J, they're the newbies. Want to let you know about them. What else is going on this? Did you know that today, I know it's the 23rd, but did you know that today is the first day of autumn? Yeah. Look out the window. Look at that gray sky and just say, wow, this is how we're ushering in autumn. And this is no broken record. Another storm is barreling up the coast. Ophelia is her name. You know how successful Vice President Harris has been when it comes to border security? Now she's tackling gun safety. New Bedford ranks as one of the most expensive cities to live in when it comes to household bills. Massachusetts boys are tops when it comes to playing girls' team sports. Jim Phillips, good morning, Jim. Jim has our Town Square Sunday update coming up in just a bit. Also, next half hour, the Bitcoin Biz Barometer. We have the Brian's Beat quote of the day, but before we go down that particular road, let's take a look at the 235th day of this year. It's Astronomy Day. Astronomy Day. But if you were sounding it out, you wouldn't say astronomy. You would say astronomy. As I mentioned before, it is the autumnal equinox, first day of autumn. We don't have to get all jazzy with the words, but it's the first day of fall. Don't tell New Bedford fishermen about this one because they'll get pretty upset. Today is Fish Amnesty Day. Here's one for you, huh? Fish Amnesty Day. You can't fish for salmon and a few other fish, but it's Fish Amnesty Day. Is a fish supposed to look at a fisherman's hook and say, not today, Amnesty Day. It's my day off. Your day off from coming after me. Fish Amnesty Day. Who thinks of it? I don't know. I can see the importance to this one. International Day of Sign Language. Pretty soon, that's all any of us will speak is sign language. That way, our First Amendment rights will be hard to be taken away from us. International Day of Sign Language. Does anybody teach sign in our government schools? Is that a language that students can take? Might be a good one to learn. I mean, we've got kids coming in speaking Haitian Creole, Cape Verdean Creole. Those two are different. Spanish, French, all kinds of E's. Sign language. Why not? It is National Checkers Day. Don't know where that comes from. I mean, I like playing checkers. In fact, I like checkers so much, I haven't learned how to play chess. I think I could if I wanted to. My sons love playing it. I don't play it. I like checkers. It's a fun game to play. And it's easy on the head. I mean, there are other things that we can, we can go through brain teasers over. But checkers, it's National Checkers Day. All right, checkers. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that, and I wasn't going to bring this up as far as dates in history, but I think this is also the same date that former President Nixon gave his checkers speech. And here I am thinking, it's checkers, let's play the game checkers. Who knows? It is also Kids Day. We've had all kinds of days. Why not Kids Day? It's Kids Day. Hey, kids, it's your day. The Great American Pot Pie Day. I like a good pot pie. I never thought much about a pot pie as to whether it is American or if it's French or Italian or German, but it's the Great American Pot Pie Day. Remember before I was telling you about how it's Fish Amnesty Day? Go figure this one. It's National Hunting and Fishing Day. You're going to have a National Hunting and Fishing Day on the same day that you have Fish Amnesty Day. By the way, since it's Fish Amnesty Day, if the fish is already caught, is it all right to cook it and eat it? Or if it's tuna, to slice it up raw and make it into sushi? It's already caught. Just asking. Here we go again. On this date in 1846, the planet Neptune is discovered by astronomers, astronomers, which is probably why it's Astronomy Day. But you know what? That planet was up there way back when, long before 1846. Who did this discovering? And I wonder, it's kind of like Columbus discovered America. Oh, no, he didn't. All of us know that he didn't. And yet we still teach it. So my guess is that somebody else figured out that there was a planet. They may not have called it Neptune, but they said, hey, look, that's a planet. That's not just any old star. That's Neptune. All right. Oh, yes, the Bryant's Bee quote of the day. This is a real simple one. So simple, I have no idea who came up with it, but I know that I've stated it many, many times in my life. You probably have too. 3 words. Well, I guess you could say 4 words, except that 2 words have been combined to make one. The Bryant's Bee quote of the day: believe. believe in yourself. Pretty simple. Believe in yourself. How many people do or don't? Well, that's up to the experts. But I think it's a valuable quote of the day. We're going to get into some other quotes as we progress throughout the day today. It's going to be a busy day. Lots on the menu. Next hour, we will be joined by Mary Ellen Siegler. She is the editor of Massachusetts Informed Parents. We had Mary Ellen on, I believe, last month, and maybe it was in July, when we first started talking about the frameworks. And I know there's been some questions. Barry actually brought it up to me yesterday on the program dealing with the frameworks about a former teacher calling in, wondering about some of the frameworks. I've got the frameworks on another computer. I don't know how to take the frameworks and actually put it up to WBSM.com. For those that have not had a chance to peruse the frameworks, it's about 55 pages. But a lot of the stuff that you have heard on WBSM, it's there. It's there. I've taken a look. The things that we will talk about today, I've actually made pictures of, so I can actually read it verbatim for you. And Mary Ellen and I will talk about it during hour number 2. We might even talk about that stuff, we being you and me, leading into hour number 2. But definitely when we have Mary Ellen coming on, when we get into that phase of the program. 508-996-0500. That's how you get on the show today if you are so inclined to give me a shout. Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, what?
I believe in myself.
Good. I believe in yourself,
too. I believe in you if I don't believe in myself first.
Oh, you know what? There are lots of people that don't believe in themselves, yet they will say a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I think you're right. You're right on most things that are important anyways.
If that were true,
but I can't get it to the market.
If that were true, I would be going to Wall Street by helicopter.
Do you like inventions?
Some.
I invented a vest that when the ship goes down, like the Titanic, it's a balloon, so they can recover the bodies or save them if they're still alive. I think everybody should have one. Insurance companies could use it too with lost at sea people. Pentagon could use it too when the aircraft carrier goes down in a few months over there in Black Sea. I think I could make a lot of money on it, but I'm poor, so somebody will steal my idea.
What kind of balloon are we talking about here?
And I ain't got nothing else to say except I believe in you because I believe in me.
You don't want to tell me what type of balloon you've come up with? Yes, no, maybe? Just like that, he's gone. He's come up with a balloon. Don't we already have flotation devices? Now, if he were to invent a balloon, like a hot air balloon where you can be lifted out of the water, that would be great. You'd be easy to spot. But if it can lift you out of the water, how far up do you end up going? And if you go up that far, what happens if a dodo bird comes by and punctures your balloon? Shh. Don't you wish you had a doorbell like that? People come and calling and it rings. I think that would be cool. Can you ringtone something like that to put it onto your house? I'm asking, I don't know. I think that would be cool. The Jetsons doorbell. Welcome back to Brian's Beat. I'm Brian. Last Saturday, we were bracing for whatever, Lee? Was that the name, Lee? Hurricane Lee? Am I getting that? Lee, Tropical Storm Lee, Nor'easter Lee, whatever. I think it's Lee. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. At any rate, are you paying any attention to Tropical Storm Ophelia. Honestly, after all that we went through over the past week dealing with Lee, I think it's Lee, and the little bitty rain that we got, I said, these forecasters, they went way overboard. But as I'm driving in this morning, I'm listening to the weather forecast and also the news and the sports. Yeah, all three. And the sports guy was saying that, well, the Patriots could be in for a soaking. And I'm thinking to myself, what's he talking about? And then he starts talking about Ophelia. And I'm thinking, oh, so it's going to dump rain and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the weather person is talking about the fact that, yeah, the whole eastern seaboard is going to get swamped with a lot of rain and wind, damaging wind, and power outages are possible, wind gust up to 60 miles per hour, that kind of stuff. And so I start paying a little more attention, but I'm mindful of what we went through last week. And then the news at the top of that particular hour was leading with the fact that that storm is barreling up the coast. And I'm thinking to myself, well, worst case scenario, it's not going to be a big deal. But if I don't at least mention it to you, then it's on me. So I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it has anything whatsoever to do with climate change. But the weather experts are telling us Ophelia is churning up the eastern seaboard. Certainly it's going to pound, as they're telling us, New York, New Jersey, and around our area, the coastal area, and of course, Cape Cod. How much rain? Will we get damaging wind? Will folks be forced off the roads? Will all of a sudden there'll be another state of emergency on top of the state of emergency? On top of yet, I think, another state of emergency? I don't know. But I am letting you know that the weather folks are telling us to be prepared for heavy rain, tropical force winds, and maybe some flooding. I let you know. Might as well let you know about some other stuff. How about some bull on the bullhorn? You know about this one? Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren, was handing out Dunkin' Donuts coffee on a picket line yesterday up in Mansfield. It was the United Auto Workers picket line. Apparently, President Biden is going to be at a picket line. This seems like one of those things where the Democrats have decided that they're going to go out to the picket lines in support of the United Auto Workers. If what normally happens continues to happen in this particular case, Congress people going out to support the picketers, and the picketers win. I'm not trying to draw any kind of straw here. I'm just saying if you can expect auto prices to go up even higher. Now, why do I say this? I think I brought it up last week, if not last week, the week before. The number one asset producing thing for the federal government is student loan debt. The money that they make on student loans, $1.78 trillion. That's a chunk of change right there. And it all started back in the early 1970s when the federal government got involved with student loans. And once they got once they inched their way in the door, well, we've seen the increases year after year after year. Well, there have been a couple of years when things held steady, but progressively since, 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So I bring that up to get back to auto workers. They want more money. In fact, I think there was a negotiation that the auto workers had with Ford. Ford offered a 21% pay increase. That in and of itself is going to drive the price of a Ford up, a new Ford up. But it's not enough for the auto workers. The auto workers are saying, well, you know what they're saying. They want not only more money, they want reduced hours. I think they want to go from a 36-hour week down to a 32-hour week. Now, imagine if you still work, imagine saying to your boss, not only do I want a raise, but I want to work 4 less hours per week. 1 week, that's not a big deal. But when you add it up, let's say you get 2 weeks vacation and 4 hours a week times 50, that's 200 hours less you're working. I don't begrudge the person who can get away with it. But I think when the inmates start running the asylum, we got some problems going on. And definitely, we've got some problems going on. So you've got Elizabeth Warren picking up a bullhorn, and I think she was yelling, "When unions win, workers win," something along those lines. And she's handing out Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Next thing you know, she's going to be saying, wait a minute, this isn't union coffee. And then she's going to rally the workers at Dunkin' Donuts to get out there and try to start a union. Can you see that happening somewhere down the road? Speaking of jobs, State House News Service. Massachusetts job gains picked up in August. Employers added 15,400 jobs in August, while the statewide unemployment rate hovered at near historic lows, according to labor officials. Total employment bounced up to 3.7 million here in the Commonwealth, which is the highest level in years. Employers added considerably more jobs in August than they did in July. And even in July, the revised gains were up 4,600. That's pretty good. However, one of the things missing from this particular report is the numbers that we get from the state labor department dealing with the number of people filing a first-time unemployment claim. It does not include the 2,100 Bay Staters that filed that first-time unemployment claim. So we have 2,100 people filing a first-time claim. That's on top of about 2,500 that filed for a first-time claim the week prior. And we had 15,000 people get a job. Did any of the folks that are, I guess, here temporarily legally, are any of them getting jobs yet? Maura Healey's working. She's working the government. She's working the government on the federal level so these people can work. There's going to be a time, mark my words on this, unlike the caller earlier today, I'm not sure that I'm right all the time, but mark my words on this. There will be a time when there are a lot of people that cannot find work because the economy, stupid. There are going to be a lot of people that can't find work. And now you're going to have many people that have made their way into the United States, not through the normal legal means. And they're going to be looking. And you're going to have people that are getting benefits. And you're going to have folks that don't qualify for benefits. The folks that won't qualify for benefits are going to be the people that are here legally, people that you and I know as Bay State residents. And then there are going to be the other folks who are going to be able to get shelter and food and stuff like that. I don't begrudge them coming into the United States. I get pissed off when government thinks that, well, they know what's best, and they have decided, well, we're going to give them a meal ticket, we're going to give them shelter, and we're going to hope and pray that the Biden administration is going to allow worker permits. At any rate, I digress. Let's hear from Jim Phillips and find out what's coming up on Town Square Sunday.
Morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Phillips, and here's what's happening this week on Town Square Sunday. It's called the Blount Fine Foods New Bedford Seaport Chowder Fest, and it's coming on Saturday, September 30th, for its 18th year. We talked with Katie Green from One SouthCoast Chamber about the event. Tickets are $15, $20 the day of the event, and it's a great time. So stop by Chowder Fest. That is happening on Pier 3 on September 30th. We also chatted with Jack Spillane, New Bedford Light columnist, about the upcoming preliminary election in New Bedford. And Fall River businessman Michael Benavides joined us to preview the Fall River Fabric Art Festival. They're expanding with venues in New Bedford and Providence this year as well. I'm Jim Phillips. Join us for Town Square Sunday morning at 6 a.m., 1420 WBSM and 99.5 FM.
Thanks, Jim. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin Business Barometer measuring the universal crypto marketplace. Got a mixed bag. Well, yeah, we do. We have a mixed bag today. Bitcoin is up $83 from last Saturday morning, coming in at $26,574. Ethereum, $1,594, but it's down $42. Binance Coin is down $4, coming in at $210. XRP is at 51 cents this morning. That's up a couple of pennies. Dogecoin is even at 6 cents. Cardano is down a penny at 24 cents. And Solana coming in at $19 this morning. It is even from last Saturday morning. That's your Bitcoin Business Barometer for today, September 23rd, the first day of autumn. Can you feel it in the air? The Bitcoin Business Barometer, I get my numbers each and every Saturday and every day, because I do check just about every day, from CoinMarketCap.com, CoinMarketCap.com. Let's hear from you at 508-996-0500. There was an interesting article. I'm not sure exactly where I got it from. Maybe, let me see if I can tell right here. Yes, I can. The paper that I call the Substandard. You know it as the Standard Times. The cost of living. Here's where New Bedford ranks based on a survey by DOXO. Now, I've heard people pronounce it, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know how to pronounce that company, DOXO. But they say the company tries to simplify how consumers pay bills. Again, above my pay grade. New Bedford ranks 138th among 154 Massachusetts cities and towns surveyed as the most expensive for household expenses. 138th out of 154. Last I knew, there were 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth. So what happened to the others? But here's where you really should take note. And last week we had a caller talk about how people are buying other things and our cost of living has really changed dramatically, not only in New Bedford, but around the country. And so when we turn around and we look at some of the things that we may or may not have or may not be able to afford, it is because of the things that we go out and purchase that maybe our parents and certainly the folks that would be considered our grandparents going back to the Depression era didn't exist, so they didn't have to go out and buy. How much do New Bedford residents pay for bills yearly? Now, this one really caught me back. It really did. The average household in New Bedford pays $24,923 per year on bills. Read that, just a little under $25,000 a year on bills. Now, that's household. That's not per person. That is household. And that would be good. Because if that was per person, people wouldn't be able to live in New Bedford. People are having a hard enough time living in the city of New Bedford. But then you start looking at the expenditures and you start to at least figure out how it can be like this. The report analyzed all kinds of expenses, mortgage or rent, auto loans, electricity, gas, water and sewer, waste and recycling, auto insurance, cable, internet, telephone, health insurance, only the part that the consumers pay, not what the boss might pay. Mobile phone, because there are people that have, like the internet bundle through Comcast. And then, of course, mobile phone. Here's something that many people have now that they did not have back in the Depression era, well, besides mobile phones, besides the internet, besides cable. They did not have a security system, alarm and security system. But you got to add that into the fray. Life insurance. How many people had life insurance back during the Depression? It was available, but how many people really had it? How many people had auto insurance during the Depression? Electricity, gas, water and sewer, waste, recycling. Recycling wasn't a thing back then, but waste was. It was all thrown in together. But when you add it all up, at least residents in the city of New Bedford are paying nearly $25,000 a year for that privilege? What would you call it? New Bedford residents are paying $366 more per year for these household bills than the United States average. What do you say to that? How does that make you? And remember, this is New Bedford, so Dartmouth, Fairhaven, Acushnet, it's different. Fall River, different. This is just what's happening in the city of New Bedford. The household bills, as they're called, makes up more than 50%, or I said makes up, I should say takes up more than 50% of the annual household income. 51% to be more precise. Now, it shouldn't surprise you that Boston is the most expensive city in Massachusetts when it comes to these household bills. North Adams is the least expensive. But, that's North Adams. The other one, that's Boston. But when you think about New Bedford, and you think how people, and rightfully so, at least in my mind, complain because taxes are going up, roads aren't looking any better, and then you look at what's left over, because think about it. Unless you are a wizard at trying to figure out how to take care of your bills otherwise, that $24,000 is after-tax income. After-tax income. So you've already been taxed, and the state and Uncle Sam, they take a whole big chunk of money. Household income does not include Social Security. Doesn't include if the money that's taken out for Medicare. So you are paying, think about it, $25,000, just about $25,000. That's a lot of money. And you look at what's been going on with the economy. I don't know. That is a whopping sum of money to be paying out, at least in my book. 508-996-0500 is how you get onto the program. Next hour, we are joined by Mary Ellen Siegler. She is the editor of Massachusetts Informed Parents. And what she has done, she has taken a look up and down over the new health and physical education and sex education frameworks recently passed. When I say recently, I believe on Tuesday or Wednesday, passed by the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. And she's pulled out a few passages, and she's going to relate to us when we talk to her during hour 2 of Brian's Beat. News coming up at the top of the hour. I was going over some of the things dealing with the frameworks, and I realize, actually I know because I heard a former teacher call Barry's show Wednesday, Thursday. I'm shy on the exact date. I just happened to be driving somewhere, and I was coming back, and I said, well, I'll tune in. And she found it hard to believe. She wanted to read the frameworks. And I remember reaching out to Barry after the call, and I said, look, I've got the frameworks. Anybody can get the frameworks. They're easy to find. And I've read, and the things that Barry had been talking about on the show were certainly in the frameworks. You can see them. And so I remember saying to Mary Ellen Siegler, who's going to be joining us during hour number 2, that what I think I want to do is, we're just going to pick out a few things, but we'll even highlight the page number so people can look for themselves. Because, if you think we're going to, and there are people that would just come out and blather whatever they want to. And people make mistakes. I certainly have been known to do it, and I will continue. But I don't do it intentionally. So when I tell you that within the frameworks, there is a section that says demonstrate awareness of and ways to show respect for different family structures, families with heterosexual parents, families with same-gender parents, single-parent families, intergenerational families, adoptive families, foster families. It's there. Now, you might say, well, that's pretty harmless. Well, it may or may not be. But the mere fact that you're teaching this to kids that are considered pre-kindergarten,